Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
Hello everybody, this is Josh, and here we have a best of 3 series being played between two of the best foreigner Zergs in the entire world. It is Evil Genius's IdrA as the red Zerg up here in the top right of Blistering Sands, and his opponent today is MorroW, the blue Zerg down here in the bottom left. He is obviously a member of mousesports. He's a Swedish Zerg player that used to play Terran back in the day, and this best of 3 is being played for the group stages of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. Now, if you recall, back in the day, MorroW and IdrA, before IdrA was even on EG, I believe, played against each other in the Intel Extreme Masters Global Challenge for the finals of that tournament, and those games are actually on my channel as well if you want to go relive that moment. But MorroW was Terran back in those days, and IdrA was, of course, still Zerg. But now it's pretty much a giant rematch here in the form of the World Championship, so we'll see if IdrA has what it takes to topple MorroW's Zerg, even if he couldn't quite manage MorroW's Terran back then. Blistering Sands is an interesting map here for ZVZ. I'm not exactly sure which strategies these players will be employing. Usually in Zerg versus Zerg these days, it really hinges on one big battle, and then you see who wins. And actually, if you look at this production tab, both players are going for speedlings first, getting their extractors up before spawning pools. But as I was saying, that one big battle, maybe it's banelings against banelings or banelings against roaches or what have you, but whoever wins that first pivotal battle can usually end up cleaning up the game, and it's very, very much so down to micro more than actually strategy or tactics or expanding or anything like that. It's really down to those battles. If IdrA has one more roach than MorroW, or MorroW has one more baneling than IdrA at the end of the fight, it can really change the scale of the entire match. So we'll see how this first game goes here on Blistering Sands, and then of course the subsequent games of this best of 3 series. And of course, I've said it before, but this group actually contains a ton of great players, not just these two Zerg powerhouses. WhiteRaw, Tarson, QXC, and Ace from South Korea all in this group as well. Every player in the group will have to play every other player in the group, so IdrA will play WhiteRaw, MorroW will play QXC, etc., etc., every matchup you can think of. And then there is a Group B as well, playing some other games, but obviously these guys won't be playing against them because they're in Group A, and they won't play until bracket stages. So the top 3 from these groups will actually advance into the bracket stages. The number 1 person from each group will actually go straight into the semifinals, I believe, and the others will go into the quarterfinals. It's not actually a round of 8 since there are only 4 players in there, but it's sort of a seeding situation. But either way, both MorroW and IdrA looking for some wins here to help cement their group victories. And IdrA is going to be the first one out of the gate with a bunch of lings headed toward MorroW's base. Neither player has chosen to expand yet. Both of them are getting Zergling speed upgraded at the exact same time. I see a hatchery coming down for MorroW now, while IdrA is building a baneling nest quite quickly. These Zerglings have a little tiny skirmish, but nothing really too major happened there. Both players down to only 3 lings out of their initial 4. IdrA is headed to the back rocks of MorroW's base already, trying to gnaw away at these destructible rocks, but MorroW comes in, chases them away. He's got overlords. Actually, both players, if you look at the minimap, have their overlords scattered all around Blistering Sands. There's not going to be any anti-air for either player for a while, so it's kind of safe to just spread out and get some map vision. IdrA going a little bit more aggressive, it looks like, as the speed finished up for both players. We see lots more lings being made for IdrA than for MorroW, and that hatch, of course, is going to set MorroW back a little bit in terms of unit production. Until the hatch is finished, that is. Obviously, he'll have more larvae after it's finished than IdrA does, but look at all these banelings already morphing while MorroW is still getting his baneling nest up. This could be a big, big moment once these banelings actually find MorroW's pack of Zerglings, but MorroW is now getting some banelings up of his own. We'll see which player actually comes out on top of this first pivotal battle here. Banelings and lings clashing, smashing into each other, trying to douse each other with acid and send them to a Zergy grave on Blistering Sands. But IdrA going to run in here really fast. He's got way more banelings than MorroW does. Are they going to have an even exchange of banelings? That is really the question here. These speedlings don't want to run far away from the banelings of each side. It looks like IdrA did waste a baneling. MorroW might have gotten a better exchange there already for his banelings. If he can hit this pack of speedlings right here, he will be in a huge advantage, but IdrA does have the speedling advantage down here on the low ground. MorroW ran all of his back into his main, and now he's catching up back at his natural hatchery. It looks like he is going to have a ling advantage, or at least more lings available to surround this pack from IdrA. So IdRA's going to back off, make a few more banelings. If you look at the production tab, MorroW's making a few of his own as well. He comes in here, tries to kill off these banelings before they can actually hatch, and manages to snag 2 of them. I believe IdrA did not cancel those. They were actually killed, and here goes one last baneling dying off. So IdrA did lose a few banelings while they were morphing there. Gonna have to remorph those. MorroW with a lot of lings here still, and a couple of banelings still alive. If he manages to hit this pack, it is so crucial. There you just saw 2 banelings smash into 2 other banelings. If you can land that big hit, kill 5 or 6 lings with 1 pack of banelings, you are going to be in such a huge advantage. Right now it looks like MorroW is in the lead. I'm just going to leave the units tab up briefly here. MorroW has way more lings. IdrA has way more banelings up right now. But this queen here going to try and kill off this baneling before it reaches anything, and is successful. IdrA unable to kill anything with that last baneling, and oh, this is just so weird. Like, only 2 units for each player right now. 15 drones apiece, 1 queen apiece. Overlord's still very similar as well, and IdrA is trying to expand it as natural now. So even though MorroW got his natural up first, he has not actually taken a drone lead at all. He does have a slight Zergling lead, though, and more banelings being morphed for both players all over the map. Actually, I'm just going to leave the units tab up. You know what's going to be built. Drones, speedlings, and banelings. So we'll actually try and focus here on the action. More so than anything. And we see a couple of more baneling splashes there. It's really hard to keep up with who's lost what. If you look at the lost tab, it looks like MorroW's slightly ahead. Ooh, that was a great exchange there from MorroW, killing a lot of lings with that baneling, but now more just morphing back at home for IdrA. MorroW, on the other hand, has a big unit lead here with Zerglings, 16 against 6. He's got an equal number of banelings. That was a bad exchange for IdrA. Only 1 baneling for 1 speedling is never a great exchange. 2 banelings for MorroW, crashing right into 2 banelings of IdrA. He maintains his unit advantage here. 20 lings against 11. More banelings trying to be morphed here. If these banelings can get in there, the speedlings can surround these cocoons. This could be it, as MorroW does have more speedlings available, and if this baneling does not finish, he's not going to be able to get that splash. Ooh, MorroW losing a couple of units there, but he does still have more lings than IdrA. IdrA now down to 0 lings. He GG's very quickly. He knows that he lost that exchange all the way across the map from MorroW's hatch all the way to his own natural, and that was game 1. Very sweet, very short baneling and speedling battles. Let's go into game 2 and see if IdrA can flip the script or if MorroW will take this best of 3. Let's go.